Very good. Good morning, everyone. Let's go ahead and get started on the LAFCO meeting today. It's April 6, 2026 at 8:15. Ready to start. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Commissioner Becker,
Present.
Commissioner Willis,
Here.
Commissioner Aguirre,
Here.
Commissioner Anderson, Commissioner Browning, Commissioner McKenzie, Commissioner White,
Present.
Commissioner Whitburn,
Here.
Alternate Commissioner McCann,
Present.
Alternate Commissioner Drake,
Here.
Alternate Commissioner Montgomery Stepp is absent, Alternate Commissioner Delaney,
Here.
Alternate Commissioner Von Wilpert is absent. So there is a quorum with 8 voting members present, and the meeting was called to order at 8:15 a.m.
Thank you very much. All right, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. So let's start today with Mr. Simons. Is there anything you want to touch on?
Thank you, Chair Becker, and good morning, Commissioners. So no changes to the agenda that was published and sent out last Monday. So today we have a number of items on consent and then a couple of items for open discussion. We have a combined public hearing covering our municipal service review on the Carlsbad region, and that's going to be followed by a follow-up on a request by Lower Sweetwater Fire Protection District regarding staff's implementation of a commission policy. And then last but not least, a follow-up and requested actions on the Alliance of LAFCOs. So with that, you do have a couple of items of supplemental correspondence before you. One for our public hearing item and one from Lower Sweetwater, and staff can reference and address it as needed as we go through those items. So with that, Chair Becker, we are good to go.
There you go. All right, very good. Let's take the non-agenda public comment. This provides an opportunity for anyone who would like to comment on something that is not on today's agenda but is within the purview of LAFCO. Madam Clerk, do we have anybody online that would like to speak?
No public comments online.
No hands raised. Very good. All right. And I see no public comment in the audience today, so let's move on to the consent items, which are 5A through 5I. Do we have any public comments on those items, the consent items?
No public comments.
Very good. Commissioners, do we have a motion? Very good. Call for the vote.
Commissioner Becker,
Yes.
Commissioner Willis,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie, Commissioner Anderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Browning, Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Aguirre,
Yes.
Commissioner Whitburn.
Yes.
There are 8 in favor, 0 opposed. The motion passes.
Thank you. All right, let's go on to our public hearing item. Item 6A is the draft municipal service review on the Carlsbad subregion, City of Carlsbad, and Carlsbad Municipal Water District. And this is a discussion-only item. Commissioners, do we have any ex parte communications that would like to disclose? Seeing none. All right, very good. Let's present the item.
Thank you. So Michaela will start us off.
Good morning, Chair Becker and Commissioners. Michaela Peters, Analyst 2 for the record, and also the project manager for this municipal service review. So I'm also joined today by our consultant, Adam Wilson, who provided intergovernmental coordination support throughout the preparation of this report. So the item before you today is a combined public hearing on the draft municipal service review covering the Carlsbad subregion, so the City of Carlsbad and the Carlsbad Municipal Water District. Before diving into the details, I want to take a quick step back and provide a little context on why we do these studies and how they fit into LAFCO's broader role, especially for anybody who may be tuning into LAFCO for the first time. So as the Commission is aware, LAFCOs across California have 2 primary roles: a regulatory role, most notably overseeing boundary changes and outside service extensions, and a planning role. So the municipal service reviews, or MSRs, are a key part of that planning role. They provide a comprehensive, independent assessment of how well local municipal services are meeting current and future community needs. By statute, MSRs are used for at least three purposes. First, to support updates to spheres of influence, which are required every 5 or so years. Second, to inform boundary changes and service extensions over the same time frame. And third, and when appropriate, to initiate reorganizations of agencies or the formation of new ones. So each of the 58 LAFCOs across California has discretion in how they prepare MSRs, with the key requirement being that they have enough information to address the factors outlined in state law. Things like growth projections, infrastructure capacity, financial resources, shared facilities, and governance accountability. Here in San Diego, our work is also guided by local policy, specifically Policy L106, which gives the executive officer flexibility to tailor the scope and scale of each MSR based on local conditions, while also emphasizing readability and value to the public. Beginning last year, that policy was updated to require that complete draft reports, including recommendations, be provided to the affected agencies for a 60-day administrative review before being released publicly. So that change came directly from feedback we received during the Oceanside MSR. In addition, while not formally part of this policy, the Commission has encouraged staff to make reports more user-friendly through visual tools, which is something you'll see reflected throughout this MSR. Now, consistent with the delegating authority, the EO has organized the broader Carlsbad Regional Review into two standalone parts to better isolate the city-district service relationships in each subregion. So today's report is part one, the Carlsbad subregion, covering the city of Carlsbad and the Carlsbad MWD, and part two, which will address the will address the Oceanside subregion and its 4 agencies, which includes the city of Encinitas, San Dieguito Water District, Leucadia Wastewater District, and Alevinheim Municipal Water District. And that will be presented separately at a later date. And then they come together as the Carlsbad Encinitas Regional MSR. So today's item combines 2 procedural tracks. The city portion is a continued public hearing, while the Carlsbad MWD portion is being opened for the first time. Both agencies have completed their 60-day administrative reviews, and their input is reflected in the draft. Today, the Commission is being asked to determine whether the draft is ready to move forward for the 45-day public review period. So with that context, let's turn to the substance of the report. So the draft MSR spans roughly 200 pages of analysis for the 2 agencies, drawing primarily on data from 2019 through 2023, and with a few exceptions where a longer perspective was needed. So the report is built on key assumptions and benchmarks, which are summarized in the executive summary. Most importantly, the rationale for which services are evaluated and the use of 5-year averages to measure capacity against demand, helping smooth out 1-year anomalies. For today's purpose, I'll walk the Commission through the MSR's key conclusions and recommendations for both agencies, and we welcome any questions or areas you'd like to explore in more detail. So starting with the city of Carlsbad, for a brief overview, the city was incorporated in 1952 and now the 5th largest municipality in the county. The city is 39 square miles with a population of about 116,400, and the city operates as a charter law municipality. So the central narrative relative to LAFCO's growth management lens is a city that has completed its transition from expansion mode, including annexations, major infrastructure builds, organizational development, to one of stewardship. So the draft focuses on 5 specific service functions for reasons detailed in the report, which are wastewater, integrated fire protection, parks and recreation, library and cultural arts, and community development. The evaluation of these 5 services, along with broader governance and fiscal considerations, highlights several key themes, and they are listed on the next screen. So Carlsbad is best understood as a maturing coastal city that has transitioned from a period of rapid growth to one of stewardship. With largely stable jurisdictional boundaries and development approaching build-out under existing zoning, the city's focus has shifted toward managing and optimizing what already exists. Population growth has slowed under 1% annually since 2010, reflecting the long-term impact of the voter-approved growth management program established in 1986. And as a result, housing production today is primarily driven by infill development and redevelopment within an already built environment. More broadly, development patterns are now shaped less by expansion and more by land availability, infrastructure capacity, and regulatory frameworks. Carlsbad benefits from a strong governance framework that emphasizes transparency, coordination, and long-term planning. This is supported by active boards and commissions, regularly updated service plans, and a high degree of organizational continuity. The city consistently delivers high-performing and adaptable services across major functions. This includes expanding fire services throughout the data review period, adjusting library and recreation offerings, and responding to evolving community needs. However, as the city approaches build-out, the focus is increasingly on sustaining service quality rather than expanding it. So key challenges moving forward include addressing aging wastewater infrastructure, adapting parks and cultural services to demographic changes, and continuing to deliver services effectively amid shifting economic and regulatory conditions. Carlsbad is also an exceptionally strong financial position. So the city has maintained consistent operating surpluses, built substantial general fund reserves, and carries low debt levels that remain well below standard thresholds. This financial stability reflects prudent fiscal management and has enabled the city to maintain service levels even during periods of economic disruption. So at the same time, there are emerging trends that warrant attention. So the general fund expenditures are beginning to grow faster than revenues, largely due to rising public safety costs and pension obligations that are increasing. So taken together, these dynamics suggest that while Carlsbad is financially secure today, careful long-term planning will be essential to sustain that stability. So overall, the findings are clear that Carlsbad is well positioned to continue providing reliable, high-quality municipal services within its jurisdiction throughout the foreseeable planning horizon. And finally, looking ahead, there are several boundary and governance considerations that merit ongoing attention from the Commission. So along the State Route 78 corridor, jurisdictional boundaries do not always align with actual service responsibilities. This creates inconsistencies in maintenance and service delivery between Carlsbad and adjacent jurisdictions, suggesting the value of a more focused study. So in addition, the presence of the McClellan Palomar Airport, which is owned and operated by the county, but located right in the middle of Carlsbad, continues to raise governance and service alignment considerations, particularly in relation to water, public safety, and community impacts. So both of these areas represent opportunity for further evaluation to ensure that jurisdictional boundaries and service responsibilities are aligned as effectively as possible. So with these themes in mind, we've developed 7 recommendations, which I will summarize briefly, and they are up on the screen. So for the Commission should continue prioritizing urban growth within Carlsbad, including development that might otherwise occur in nearby unincorporated areas, reinforcing the city's role as a full-service urban center, while respecting the general plan where it promotes regional efficiency and compact development. For the city maintains a unique governance relationship with the Carlsbad MWD. So although Carlsbad MWD is a separate legal entity with its own taxing authority, it provides potable and recycled water services to approximately 82% of the city. So given this structure, the city should consider enhancing public awareness of the district's distinct role, particularly in public-facing materials such as its website, agendas, and budget documents. And then 2 more for the Commission. So the McClellan Palomar Airport represents a unique governance challenge. Although it is owned and operated by the County of San Diego, it is entirely surrounded by the city of Carlsbad. And generates impacts on local traffic, noise, water utilities, and public safety services. So LAFCO should evaluate service and governance conditions at the airport ahead of the next review cycle and include consideration of mechanisms to better align decision-making authority with responsibility for impacts. And lastly, jurisdictional boundaries along the State Route 78 corridor are currently misaligned with actual roadway conditions and service responsibilities. So this misalignment results in fragmented maintenance and emergency response accountability. It also raises broader governance concerns, as some parcels fall within one jurisdiction despite being functionally accessed or served through another. So LAFCO should initiate or facilitate a technical boundary review with the cities of Carlsbad and Oceanside. The goal would be to reconcile inefficient or illogical jurisdictional lines with how services are actually delivered. So that concludes the key themes and recommendations for the city of Carlsbad. And I will now shift my focus to address matters specific to the Carlsbad MWD. So Carlsbad MWD was formed in 1954 as an independent district, but following a 1990 reorganization, it now operates as a subsidiary district of the city, with the city council serving as its board and staff integrated into the utilities department. So the draft focuses on CMWD's potable water function, as well as agency governance and fiscal considerations, generating LAFCO themes and specific recommendations. So I've summarized the 8 themes into 4 overarching takeaways. So CMWD is fully integrated within the city, creating strong alignment and efficient service delivery while maintaining its distinct legal identity. The district operates with consistent financial and operational stability and maintains substantial unused system capacity to support future demand. Customers benefit from below average rates, supported in part by CMWD's integrated management of potable and recycled water, which improves coordination and financial resilience. And underlying all of this is a solid financial foundation with high reserves and low debt. While margins have narrowed slightly, the focus going forward will be on sustaining competitive rates, planning for infrastructure investment, and increasing public awareness of the district's role. So with those themes as context, staff developed 4 agency-specific recommendations. So for the district, and as mentioned earlier, CMWD should improve how it communicates with the public through its website, meeting agendas, and budget documents to clearly highlight its separate legal status, taxing authority, and role as the main provider of potable and recycled water in Carlsbad. LAFCO should continue its study schedule to prepare a comprehensive review of recycled water services. This includes examining current and future demand within CMWD and evaluating service boundaries with neighboring providers to ensure efficient service delivery and collaboration. And at the right time, CMWD and LAFCO should assess whether the district could use its existing authority to provide wastewater services. This could improve governance efficiency and service coordination, ultimately benefiting ratepayers. And based on this review, LAFCO should proceed with a limited update to reaffirm Carlsbad MWD's sphere of influence. Additionally, creating special study areas that reflect potential future boundary adjustments, especially where CMWD and Oceanside overlap near the State Route 78, will help guide future planning. So to summarize, the draft before you represents about 200 pages of analysis covering 2 agencies, a full-service city and a subsidiary water district. Both agencies completed their 60-day administrative reviews, and the draft incorporates substantive revisions based on the feedback received. The report confirms that both agencies are well-positioned to provide reliable, high-quality services within their respective boundaries for the period covered by this review. And at the same time, it highlights emerging trends that merit ongoing attention in line with LAFCO's interests and responsibilities. So staff is requesting now that the commission provide direction on whether the draft is ready to proceed to the 45-day public review period. If so, we'll return with a final version as early as June. And if not, we will go back to the drawing board and revise and bring it back for further consideration. So that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions. We also have Mr. Adam Wilson in the crowd, should there be any questions for him. And thank you.
Thank you, Michaela. Thank you. That was a great presentation. It was
Thank you.
organized and really easy to understand, so really appreciate that. I also want to say thank you to our commission and staff for implementing that 60-day administrative review. I think that really helps the city and the city manager and have enough time to participate in this. So that's well appreciated. Thanks so much for that. Let's go to public comment first. Do we have any public comment on this item?
No public comment.
Very good. Thank you. All right, commissioners, any discussion, questions, comments on this review? Yes, Commissioner Drake.
I just wanted to comment on page 3 of your report. Sections 3 and 4 talk about MWD for Carlsbad. And if you read those things, they are kind of a microcosm for the whole county. The confusion between agencies. If you ever tried to figure out what agency supports a particular house in eastern Carlsbad, it's bizarre where the boundaries are. So, but the issue is really more at governance and responsibility. And if we could solve this problem, we could solve the county problem. I just want to comment, it was a very good discussion, and we need to pay attention to that section 3 and 4.
Right. Yes. All right, Gary.
Thank you. I just have a general quick comment regarding housing. I know it's not under our jurisdiction or purview necessarily, but I think this adds to the case that we need to continue to build housing in urban areas rather than unincorporated, for not just reasons related to potential wildfires, but in this case, obviously, water supply is incredibly important. So just want to make that point. Thank you.
So this was for discussion only, so I guess we are ready to move it on to the 45-day. Mr.
Awesome.
Any comments or?
So as Michaela said, this was our check-in with the commission to see if this blank canvas that the state requests that you fill in, if we've done a good job to date. So with consensus, we will proceed. Michaela will issue the 45-day public review notice. Adam will continue to work with Carlsbad staff. And as part of your policy, we'll ask Adam to go to the next Carlsbad meeting or a upcoming meeting so they are directly aware of the commission's inquiry. And just from my perspective, this is a very clean report. Carlsbad is certainly on the higher end of efficiencies. And I think that's reflected in the fact that you don't see anyone from Carlsbad here, perhaps as you have in past studies where we have pointed out some things that are of interest to LAFCO. So thank you, Commission, and thank you, Michaela and Adam.
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you. All right, let's turn to item 7A. This is an agency request to review staff implementation of L107, another discussion only item. We'll have staff presentation first.
Yes, thank you, Chair Becker. Good morning, Commissioners. Priscilla Mumpower, Assistant Executive Officer. So the item before you is at the request of Lower Sweetwater Fire Protection District with concurrence from Chair Becker for commission review of its policy L107 and staff's administrative implementation in connection with an anticipated reorganization application. So as outlined in the agenda report, and actually I'm going to pause really quick to grab the clicker, which Aiden is going to assist me with. Thank you. Okay, now I'm fully ready. So as outlined in the agenda report, the underlying context here is somewhat unique in that the anticipated reorganization was not initiated as a typical discretionary filing, but rather arises from a commission-imposed condition which was tied to an earlier emergency out-of-agency wastewater service agreement that was allowed under Government Code Section 56133, as well as local policy, and in addressing a documented septic failure and public health and safety consideration. So policy L107, by its title and operative provisions, is intended to address jurisdictional issues associated with proposed or pending changes of organization or reorganization, and specifically encourages early consultation prior to filing where there may be unresolved jurisdictional concerns. It also expressly allows the executive officer to waive that consultation procedure when it can be determined with certainty that there is no possibility the proposal will result in unresolved jurisdictional issues. So staff's view is that policy L107 does not readily apply, given that it is tied to an earlier LAFCO action where it was approval of a service contract not itself a change of organization or reorganization, so instead a contract. And the anticipated reorganization is being made as a compliance obligation imposed by the commission rather than as an independently initiated proposal of the type that the policy was principally designed to address. So even so, and to ensure the record was clear, the executive officer formally exercised the waiver authority in writing on February 12th, 2026. And that waiver was grounded in 3 key points. So first, the commission imposed nature of the filing where requiring the applicant who is filing at LAFCO's direction to organize and fund a pre-application consultation process with third parties would be inconsistent with the policy's purpose and impose a procedural and financial burden on the landowners. Second, the Commission's existing sphere determinations placing the affected territory within the City of National City's sphere of influence, reflecting the Commission's determination that the city is the appropriate long-term service provider. And third, the district's zero sphere, reflecting that the Commission's policy interest in the district's eventual dissolution. To this end, in staff's view, no unresolved jurisdictional issues that warranted pre-application consultation, as the Commission's own adopted policies and sphere determinations had already established the relevant long-term service and governance framework for the affected territory. This said, staff has encouraged the district to work directly with the City of National City regarding any service-related concerns consistent with the existing service arrangement and the policy's underlying intent to promote early coordination among affected agencies. Importantly, the district's procedural rights remain fully preserved. When the application is formally filed, the district will receive notice as an affected agency and may submit comments and address the commission before any final discretionary action is taken. So with that, staff's recommendation is for the commission to receive the report and provide any feedback as appropriate. I'll conclude my presentation there. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. All right. We have some public comment. I will call the first person, Luis Sains. Said that right?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Luis Sainz. I'm a Lincoln Acres resident, and I'm here to speak on Policy 107. One of the main concerns that I have is lack of transparency. We're speaking of this one situation here where this person, they do need to connect. It's a health and safety issue, and I understand that. However, our only connection that we have to LAFCO is through our Lower Sweetwater fire department. And when this one and others in the past have annexed out of our community, we don't get notified. And so my issue is the lack of transparency, the lack of reaching out and communicating with us. Well, a few years back during Cox's tenure, Supervisor Cox's tenure, we lost over 50 acres. And I was never notified that was going to happen. That's near my home, and it just went away. And as this happens, as the chipping away continues, our area is getting smaller and smaller. We're going to lose representation. We have very little as it is. Thanks to Supervisor Aguirre's approval of creating our service group, I'm sure this is going to be helpful. However, all this that's happened in the past is gone now, and it's a shame. It's a shame. I feel it's a shame. Why aren't we following this policy of being transparent? In this time that we live in today, when there's so little trust in government now, especially right now, at the very top of the leadership, I don't want to see it at our level. We should be different and we should be better. I ask for that. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Kurt Warden.
Thank you. Kurt Warden, President, Lower Sweetwater Fire Protection District. Chair Becker, Commissioners, good morning. I want to start just by saying that staff has mischaracterized the district's request, and I hope to clear that up a little bit. want to highlight two parts of the packet that frame the district's request specifically. The first is a factual timeline on page 32. Shows consultation step in L107 hasn't been occurring across multiple reorganizations. And that's the core issue that we're addressing. L107 is a commission adopted policy. And under government code, it's meant to guide staff practice. So the second item is the February 12 letter on pages 49 through 51. In that letter, staff explains its reasoning for not conducting consultation. The explanations offered do not appear in the text of L107, and they reflect the staff's interpretation rather than the policy that the commission adopted. So the district is simply asking the commission to reaffirm the policy as written, provide direction on implementing it as adopted, and receive a brief report back on how the practice will be aligned for future actions. So, if the commission believes the policy should operate differently, then the appropriate path would be to modify the policy through normal procedures. Thank you.
Thank you. Alicia Morrison?
Good morning, Chair, Commission, and staff. Thank you for bringing this item for attention and review. Policies are important, and I'm a firm believer that they are put in place for a reason: good governance. This commission needs to be extremely understanding how policies are going to impact people and their communities. Therefore, I'm asking the commission to require staff to do their due diligence and always adhere to policy L107. PRAs have revealed tactics used in the 2019 annexation of the 50.5 acres. I view as being colluded and deceitful. Here are some facts, and these are facts will give cause for strict compliance for policy L107. First, nowhere in the PRAs is Lower Sweetwater Fire Protection District included in any communication via email notifying of detachment or but communications consisted of LAFCO, Greg Cox, and National City. So September 14th, I just wanted to read a little blurb from an email from Executive Officer Simons to Alex Vedel of the county. Good letter. I made some changes in step with making an explicit record, and this includes for our benefit, clarifying exactly what the proposed action is, and also requesting. Also, this is key. The recommendations to expand the affected territory is coming from LAFCO staff and not the county. So moving on, November 6, 2019, LAFCO Robert Berry makes a discovery that there were 2 additional detachments necessary and requested for a new map and for legal to create it. And once the assessor's report was updated, he would coordinate with MPTA for implementation. So 2019, Jim Desmond was assigned to the seat on this commission. Greg Cox served as the alternate. December 2nd, the day that this item comes before this commission, Jim Desmond is absent. Greg Cox is serving as a vote on this commission. After staff makes the recommendation for modification by incremental reduction, Greg Cox then steps in and makes that motion to add the 50 acres. Lincoln Acres was never surveyed. We have more than 12 registered voters. How come we didn't get a choice in that? And my time's running out, but thank you.
Thank you. Doyle Morrison?
Good morning, Commission. I would like to start off by talking about the San Diego LAFCO November 6th meeting of 2024, item 5E. It was this property with this public health nuisance of the emergency connection to sewer. And I'm on that agenda item 5E was attachment 3, which was a contractual service application form. And on the bottom of the form, item 4, it says, are there any jurisdictional issues associated with and it's yes or no, proposed contractual service agreement? If yes, please complete the LAFCO policy L107 form. I think that it's been made apparent at San Diego LAFCO that the Lincoln Acres community is definitely opposed to annexations. And so and by what Kirk Warden said today, there are jurisdictional issues that are concerning to the community, as well as some of the other speakers. So when you go to the San Diego LAFCO jurisdictional consultation L107 form, it's on agenda item 7A today, it's your attachment 1. So we have a form for it, yet we don't seem to be getting notified of it. And when you go to legislative policy L107, under the background, it says, when there are potential jurisdictional issues associated with proposed or pending jurisdictions, which we have one pending now on the work load, or whatever you guys call it. LAFCO staff has historically encouraged the lead agency and applicant to consult with the affected jurisdictions, i.e. Lower Sweetwater Fire Protection District, and interested parties to identify, discuss, and resolve jurisdictional issues prior to the LAFCO submittal. Proposal-related jurisdiction issues may involve questions about community character and/or cohesion, the ability of the agency to extend public services, potential environmental impacts, appropriate transitional areas between the jurisdictions, special district detachment issues, or other local community or government concerns. These are the reasons why it is important to follow policy L107, and I think that we should review this and make sure that that happens. And thank you for your time.
Doyle. All right, very good. I would like to give the executive officer a chance if you have anything you want to speak about right now, or we can go on to commission discussion.
Well, actually, let me defer to Priscilla. Is there any comments that you want to follow up on?
I think I'm happy to first take questions and elaborate based on those questions if you'd like.
Very good. All right.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions, comments? Yes. Commissioner Aguirre?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to ground my questions in the context of what we're discussing. Obviously, this is an annexation application that is being required by us as a condition of a prior administrative approval for out-of-agency sewer service tied to a failed septic system. So I just want to start there. But my first question is, does policy L107 apply to an annexation application that is required by LAFCO as a condition of approving emergency out-of-agency service? And if not, where is that exception written in the policy?
Thank you for your question, Commissioner Aguirre. So while it's not explicit, it is right by the title of the policy itself, right? Pending change of organization or reorganization and jurisdictional issues. And so in your staff's implementation, specific to this here, first, we do not have an application yet. It is still pending. We haven't received a complete application. Once we do, we would proceed forward with notifying the affected agencies, including Lower Sweetwater, and they'd have their full opportunity to comment and let us know. They did come forward and provide us with their notice that there were issues that they wanted resolved, and so we've directed them to National City. But to the question, while not explicit, I would say that in this instance, with all of the items that I had explained, it wouldn't really readily apply.
Got it. My second question is, If the executive officer waived pre-application consultation in this specific case, what exact jurisdictional issues did staff determine did not exist? And when specifically was that determination made and documented?
So, Commissioner Gary, I'll take that and defer to Priscilla for additional comments. But given those factors that were, perhaps we can go back to the screen where you identify the kind of the three foundational reasons. Your staff does not believe there are disputes that that exist given the commission's, here we go, standing policies. Now, this is from a different commission. You've inherited these policies, as has your staff, but because the commission has included the territory, the Delgado's property, in National City's sphere of influence, and has assigned a zero sphere of influence for Lower Sweetwater, your staff has interpreted those two factors as being, well, you've already made a decision. And so consultation with staff and, in this case, Lower Sweetwater, wouldn't apply. There'd be nothing for us to consult with. Their issue, I think, is with the commission's policy, and that still can happen at the time the proposal comes to the commission for consideration. However, bluntly, I don't know what staff would consult Lower Sweetwater with. The commission's policies are what they are, and we can't negotiate against the commission.
No, I appreciate you pointing that out. And I think, what I'm leading towards is I see a gap in the policy that we should probably address. I think that it would behoove us to take a look at it and be a little bit more specific so that we could be more transparent and avoid, and I appreciate the comments from Alicia about the past and how that process took place, because that was news to me. And obviously we're all, like you said, a new commission here. So it's important to have context of the past so that we can have lessons learned and move forward in a more transparent and engaged way, especially with community. So I do have more questions and thoughts, but I don't want to hog the mic, so I'll allow my colleagues to make those if they have any.
Any other commissioner comments? Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner McKenzie.
I'll make a quick comment. To Commissioner Gary's comments, I agree with her. I think times have changed. We have tried, all of the agencies to be more transparent, to be more engaged with their, constituency. And I think it would behoove us as a commission to go back and revisit this particular policy and see what changes need to be made. What are we doing today that they weren't doing, I don't know, how many years ago, 19 years ago? Things have changed. So I would be agreeing with Commissioner Gary to revisit.
Very good. Commissioner Whitburn.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Simons, based on the concerns that have been expressed by the community, do you see any downsides to adjusting the policy to accommodate their concerns?
Staff enjoys the discretion right now that the commission provides to the staff. However, Commissioner Gary, Commissioner McKenzie, this is your policy. And certainly we're hearing from one agency that there are ways to improve. So I don't see a problem at all in coming back and letting the commission look at your policy and tell us how better to implement it. That seems fair to us. I do have some comments about the 2019, though, just for the record, and that is, I was here for that proposal. Commissioner Cox was at the commission. It's important to note that we have a duty under state law to process property owner proposals following statute. And in that case, Commission, the two landowners of record of that proposal in 2019 both consented in writing to the proposal. And that is why the Lincoln Acres community did not get a broader notice, because we had the full consent of the property owners. I appreciate that that is a source of friction, but that's a friction built into the statute. So I just wanted to put that in the record. You weren't noticed because we had the full consent of the landowners at the time. I wanted to just put that on the record for the benefit of staff.
Yeah, and maybe it's just a little bit of more spelling out in the policy, maybe what we feel is the exceptions, and maybe there's just a way to refine that policy just a little bit, and maybe it's not a change, because as I understand it too, there is a burden on a landowner that comes forward, right? Like they would be having, what would the expense be for, the noticing and all that kind of stuff? Can you explain that a little bit? It's not just a matter of, calling people or whatever. I mean, there's a financial burden. Is that correct?
Correct. And thank you for that question. So policy L107 works wonderfully when you have a proposal like Fallbrook and Rainbow and the reorganization that took place, where policy L107 was triggered. And we worked through those jurisdictional issues for, I think, a 3-year process, at the expense of the applicants, which were Fallbrook Public Utility District and Rainbow Municipal Water District. In this case, if we did proceed with a jurisdictional consultation, which again, we would be consulting on the policies of the commission to those spheres there, it would be at the expense of the applicant, which I think the hourly rate for staff, I think it's over $100, close to $200 an hour when we're working through those. And so it is very much a financial burden on the applicant. And that goes, if I could have a little liberty to address a comment that was made. Thank you, Chair. When the applicants when they go through our application, there is a portion in there that says, are there jurisdictional issues? And so it does place the burden on the applicant also to know that there is a jurisdictional issue that is being had. But in this case, Lower Sweetwater, which they would have received notice, again, we just have not received a complete application, is letting us know. And so in this case, we still asked them, or directed them and guided them and said, you can by all means consult with the City of National City and let us know the resolution of those issues so that the financial burden of that consultation process would not be burdensome to the applicant who just came to us to fix a septic failure.
Good. Yeah. Thank you for that explanation. It's hard to know that part. Anything else? I think.
Yes, Madam
Yeah.
Chair.
Oh, yeah.
I still
Yes.
have.
Sorry, Gary.
I want to also appreciate and thank Mr. Simmons for your clarification about how. I hope that was helpful to the public to understand, because that's important too. And I just want to caveat my questions with the fact that I know that staff always has the best intention at heart and is doing things by the book. And to our executive officer's point, this is a commission policy that, it's on us to help clarify, to make things better overall, both for staff, for the public, for the benefit of transparency. So I have heard some concurrence about potentially hearing this item in the future to get more clarification. So I would like to make a motion to have staff seek to clarify and amend existing policy for commission review at a future meeting. Thank you. That would include clear criteria for when policy L107 applies to conditioned applications and requirements for documenting and communicating those determinations and waivers to affected agencies. I know we already do that, but I think it helps us just put it in writing so that we could have more transparency with the public should they want to access that information. And I heard a second, so thank you.
Good. Commissioner Whitburn.
Thank you, Chair. I will support this, but I would ask that as we evaluate any possible changes, we also understand the costs on both sides of the equation. I think that there is obviously value in transparency and notification, but what I'm also hearing is that that comes with some additional bureaucracy, some additional cost. And one of the public's greatest frustrations is government getting in its own way and not getting anything done. So I hear your, desire to have some discretion and be able to do your job. So as we evaluate this, I would like to be able to have a discussion about the costs on both sides. Thank you.
Good. All right, we've got a motion and a second. Please call the vote.
Commissioner Becker,
Yes.
Commissioner Willis,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie, Commissioner Anderson, Commissioner Browning, Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Whitburn.
Yes.
The 8 in favor, 0 opposed. The motion passes.
Good, thank you. All right, let's turn to item 7B. This is the Alliance of LAFCOs update and proposed next steps, and this will be an action item.
So I'm going to ask Joelle to get us started, but of course, Commissioners Becker, Chair Becker, Vice Chair Willis, Commissioners Drake and McKenzie, you were all at the Alliance workshop, so certainly feel free to jump on in with your own observations. But with that, Joelle, thank you.
Good morning, Chair Becker and Commissioners. Joelle Barilla, Analyst 1. Today, I will provide an update on the Alliance of LAFCOs and outline our recommended next steps as we approach the end of the current MOU term. So as background, especially for those commissioners who were not on the board last year, CalLAFCO, which is the California Association of LAFCOs, has long served as a statewide resource for all 58 LAFCOs. And in 2004, LAFCO raised concerns to the commission regarding CalLAFCOs regarding, growing governance challenges in noticeable decline in membership-focused services. So as a result, and with the commission's approval, we did notify CalLAFCO in early 2025 to discontinue our membership. And so we did not renew for this fiscal year 25 to 26. And to ensure service continuity, the commission authorized participation in an MOU with 3 other LAFCOs, which were Los Angeles, Orange, and San Bernardino. And it's also collectively known as the Alliance of LAFCOs. So over the last year, the Alliance has collaborated successfully, and since the Alliance was formed last year in July, key milestones, which are listed here on the screen, include establishing a member listserv. We were ramping up our legislative advocacy and marked by executing a joint contract with the Politico Group, releasing a joint RFP for audit services that led to the approval of a joint contract. And then we conducted our first Alliance workshop, which was held on March 24th, 2024. So all of our staff attended, plus we were joined by Chair Becker, Vice Chair Willis, Commissioner McKenzie, and alternate Commissioner Drake. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, March 24th, 2026. Yes, thank you. So this current MOU does expire at the end of this fiscal year. And as we look ahead, the Alliance is evaluating a transition from a temporary MOU framework to a more formal structure. So if we do remain under this MOU, it does present limitations. And so a nonprofit organization is being considered to provide a formal organizational structure for coordinated legislative advocacy and lobbying, which is the Alliance's primary focus. So we envision this effort to be a 2-year transition through fiscal year 28, which during the MOU would remain in place while the Alliance evaluates the formation of a nonprofit organizational structure, with consideration being given to a 501c6. Now, to be very clear, the Alliance intends these efforts to be complementary of CalLAFCO rather than duplicative of their work. And so the focus is to provide a platform for more legislative advocacy and enhance participating agencies' ability to engage and contribute at a broader legislative level. So now taking a look at the next slide, the following summarizes the proposed conceptual structure under consideration, which is broken down into 3 categories. So the first is governance structure, second is administrative structure, and third, financial structure. So governance structure, we would establish a 12-member board comprised of 4 executive officers who would be the voting members and 8 commissioners, which would be 2 from each participating county. Now, by centralizing formal voting authority to the EOs, we'll keep decision-making efficient and aligned with the Alliance's existing consensus-based style. Second is the administrative structure. So for the first 2 years, staffing will be supported on a voluntary basis by member agency staff, such as the analysts, the clerks, and the associates. Each LAFCO is anticipated to contribute approximately 120 hours of staff time annually over the 2-year period. And staff will support on coordinating key events such as the quarterly alliance meetings, legislative committee meetings, annual workshop, and then managing contract services such as our contract with Politico. Then the third structure is finally the financial structure, which would be an equal cost sharing amongst the 4 charter LAFCOs. And then we'd have an annual commitment of $15,000 per agency in fiscal year 27, and then also fiscal year 28, which would be a total commitment of $30,000. So the Alliance does anticipate expanding membership beyond the 4 charter LAFCOs. And so with this in mind, these structures do remain conceptual and will be refined in coordination with the Alliance. So in summary, staff is recommending that we support continued participation in the Alliance under the existing MOU and including reappointments of Chair Becker and Vice Chair Willis as LAFCO representatives. Authorize the executive officer to participate on behalf of the commission in forming a nonprofit entity. And then third, approve a 2-year funding commitment of $30,000 for fiscal year 27 and 28. So that does conclude my presentations. Staff is here and happy to answer any questions. I'll turn it back to Chair Becker. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation. Let me turn it over to the commission for any comments. Yes. Brownie?
I don't know why there was an issue with the other statewide group. Could you give us the background of what happened?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Browning. The commission decided to not renew its membership with LAFCO due to some issues that staff had flagged with the LAFCO board. And in particular, so a couple things come to mind, but the first being the commission was directed staff to work on a legislative item called Statute 56133 and some implementing statutes that come along with it. And perhaps Keen can elaborate, but their CEO at the time had negotiated against that effort. They also disbanded the legislative committee that was really integral to LAFCO because they provide legislative services or advocacy and then also education. And so just to disband a legislative committee and not tell the membership was a really big item that we had flagged, among other issues. And so ultimately we came forward with those issues and the commission agreed that perhaps we try to non-renew and try something different. And so this is where we're bringing forward the alliance.
Commissioner Gary.
Thank you. So as we potentially enter this new agreement and maybe even grow in the future, right? If it's not working out for some of the other ones that are part of the other one. Do we have any concerns around it getting too big and duplicating what LAFCO is doing? Or are there any, strategies that we could think of to set up for that, to prevent that, I guess?
Yeah, so good question, Supervisor Gary. So the issue of potential duplication was a topic that the commissioners addressed at this Irvine workshop. So the intent, and Joelle mentioned this in her presentation, is certainly not to replicate LAFCO, but to create a more focused membership organization. In the framing that I think helped me was to view LAFCO as an opportunity, and we hope one day we get back to LAFCO as focusing in on the floor, like elevate all 58 LAFCOs into those basic networking and information sharing services that all 58 LAFCOs benefit from, but allow the alliance through the commission and the other 4 commissions to focus on the ceiling, and so that we can participate in the legislative discussions and not because this came up, I think, with a couple of our commissioners, It was unique, Supervisor Gary and Commission, that this year we were actively talking about proposing legislation. 9 out of 10 years, we're just talking about responding to legislation, and that's what we want to get back to. So we are able to come to you in real time and say, hey, Senator X is proposing this on LAFCOs. What say you? That's something that CalLAFCO has proven ineffectual in doing. At least in terms of consensus building. I'll add to what Priscilla said about, or to Commissioner Browning's comment. There is fiefdoms within the state. I'm sure the cities and the counties in the district see this, where the northern LAFCOs and the central LAFCOs counties all have different priorities. And CalLAFCO's priorities are oriented towards the Bay Area and Northern California. This is an opportunity where I don't see there being a lot of replication opportunities because of the focused attention of the association. And I know that, you know, when you up on the screen, there was this topic about, well, the EOs would be the voting members. That is assuming that our two commissioners, right now we assume it would be the chair and vice chair, would be unanimous in their thought and give us direction. But all this is conceptual, and I'm really excited about this because one of the things that I know is a unnecessary detriment in how we do our planning functions is we stop at the county boundary line. Well, what if we are able to use the alliance in doing some big picture MSRs, where instead of this LAFCO doing a countywide MSR on fire, we do a regional fire MSR for all 4 counties, and you're splitting the cost and you're getting a much better global view. So I really think, and I use as an example, this alliance can really focus on things that CalLAFCO can't. Long way to say, I think we're safe from replication, but all of you would be responsible in telling us, hey, I think you're mission creeping.
I really appreciate that answer and the vision, right? Because I do see opportunities in potentially doing a Southern Southern region MSR, other opportunities we may not be even thinking about. So thank you.
And I will say, just being at that workshop with the other members and also the meetings that I've attended, we have a group of like-minded, similar LAFCOs. And so I do hesitate to say, yeah, we want to expand, because there are LAFCOs that have just different interests. And so this core group really has the same interests, which I think is going to be, we're just going to be more nimble and ready to go. And I appreciate the that we're responding to legislation too, because you know, you have to do that as a city too. Just watch what legislation is coming that's going to affect your city. So I do appreciate that. I forgot to mention that we do have a public comment. So let's go ahead and have the public comment, and then we can discuss a little bit more. We have Alicia Morrison.
Good morning again. I wasn't prepared for this one, so I'm just going to be winging this one. As stated at a previous meeting, and you know, I'm kind of bouncing around on this, is that, remember, I had mentioned that the executive officer's contract, item 10, stated that you shall maintain a membership with CalLAFCO. That's in the contract. So I don't know if that's been cured or corrected, or if that's, you know, something that needs to come back and be resolved. Why hasn't there been a motion at the CalLAFCO to form a subcommittee to address these issues that were brought up? A lot of you sit on city councils, board of supervisors. You have subcommittees that address certain issues. So that's just where I'm going on that. And then for the Alliance of LAFCOs, for this to be, you know, in its baby stages, I too have seen things at the Board of Supervisors meetings, and I'm just doing this as giving you food for thought, where they were asking for, and I believe it was Supervisor Anderson that brought it forward, for a public member on the SANDAG Commission, and that there was a support from the Association of Planning Groups, but the Association of Planning Groups really isn't a recognized entity. It's just a group that of planning groups and sponsor groups that came together and formed this association. So how is that any different from forming an alliance of LAFCOs? So I'm just trying to see the whole big picture and educate myself and become more aware, because I look at the mission and value statement of the Cal LAFCO, and I got this off their site. And it says Cal LAFCO mission is to promote efficient and sustainable government services based on local community values through legislative advocacy and education, which we accomplish in alignment with our core values of dependability, efficiency, honesty, and transparency. So has this been to Cal LAFCO to form a subcommittee to look at these things that the Alliance is wanting to focus on? And I get one size doesn't fit all. I get that. So that's just my food for thought on this. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Right. Any other commission comments? Yes. Vice Chair Willis?
When you analyze so many things in life, you think you still get the value that you originally had. And I would say with Cal LAFCO, we definitely are not. And at that point, that's where competition comes in. And so we haven't even mentioned the one event where you went up there, Keen, to talk to them about it, and they closed the meeting on purpose to avoid you, to avoid your comments. That's inexcusable. Inexcusable. So I like the way we're going on this, and those are my thoughts.
Thank you. Hey, anybody else? So we're being asked today to go ahead and keep this alliance with the 15,000 a year. Yes, do you have?
No, we need a.
No, I just wanted to say, can this item be on every agenda coming forth and give us a program as well? We've done this, and this, and these are the items that still need to be addressed. Because forming another association ain't all that easy. You've got to come up with your bylaws. We're talking about legislation. You've got to come up with your policies and principles so that your person can look at, okay, this is the legislation and this is my set of principles. Oh, this one doesn't fit into what the commission has already agreed on. So that bill gets put to the side. And granted that there's not that many LAFCO bills that come forth, up and down the state, 58 counties. There's only maybe 2 or 3 at the most per year. But your legislative advocate is going to be your most expensive part. And the 15,000 ain't going to cut it. So, keep that in mind. But if this is on the agenda each meeting, 5-minute, 3-minute, conversation, questions, and,
Are you asking for an update, or are you asking for this commission to have a vote on everything that Alliance is doing?
Not necessarily. Well, yes, I mean, if they're going right and the commission thinks they should be going left, we have that before it's a done deal. I'm not looking at making any changes, but where are we in the process? Where are?
Or are you making a motion?
No.
Well, I think that, it's always helpful to have updates, and I think we've asked that for all of our MSRs and all that kind of stuff too. So I like the idea of an update if there's something to update, but I don't know that we want to sit here today to say that we're going to bring it up every meeting. But I'll let the executive officer, and do you have anything comments on that, or? Okay, now.
Whatever the commission's pleasure.
Okay. Wow, he's just so agreeable today.
Boy, is he agreeable today?
Mr. Whitburn.
I would just say we're going to be naming a chair and a co-chair, and I think you've heard a desire to keep us posted on anything of significance, and I know you'll do that.
Good.
Madam Chair, do you need a motion?
Yes, we do. We do need a motion. We will be authorizing $15,000 a year for this new alliance.
Happy to move, and if we, get not every single meeting, but when it's appropriate updates, I think that makes sense, because I have trust in you and the vice chair to advocate on our side.
I think the Alliance meets only quarterly. Is that correct? Very good. Yeah, so we might not have.
Second.
Okay, good. We have a motion and a second.
Who's seconding? I heard Joe, but
Okay.
just
I don't
confirming.
think it matters.
Okay.
I beat him out.
Okay.
I heard it.
I did.
Yeah.
Witnesses.
You're too
Com-
slow.
Commissioner Becker,
Yes.
Commissioner Willis,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Aye.
Commissioner Anderson.
Aye.
Commissioner Browning, Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Whitburn.
Yes.
8 in favor, 0 opposed. The motion passes.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to the executive officer report.
So just one item for the commission, well, actually two items. So I just wanted to point out, one of the things that commissioners individually have asked staff in the past about the ability to commingle proposals for the benefit of cost savings. So I want to compliment Megan and Priscilla. So one of your earlier items today, a change of organization on consent, actually was 4 proposals bundled in one for the purposes of the applicant's cost savings. So I want to extend my appreciation to staff to getting the neighbors together and agreeing to go forward. Even though it hurts our budget a bit, I think the message from the commission is if we can economize cost for the benefit of the public, let's do it. So thank you, staff. And then we do have an upcoming timing issue for our June meeting. So are right now scheduled to meet on Monday, June 1st. Well, that happens to be a budget hearing for the 2 supervisors, which among other things means their attendance will be out, and then we don't have access to this room. So we will work with Chair Becker on potentially querying possible alternative dates, perhaps that next Monday. We still need a place to meet because apparently the budget process of the county is a multi-week activity, but nevertheless, maybe have a soft hold on June 1st. We may end up canceling that meeting. So I just wanted to put that on the radar.
Very good. Any commissioner announcements or requests for future items? Very good. With that, we will adjourn the meeting.